All right. You can barely see me. Can you see the bug bite? You guys see the mosquito bite? The welt rising on my face. God damn, that thing is. Mosquitoes are getting, or I'm getting eaten up by mosquitoes. Appreciate y'all being here. I am going to be a little off right now. A little scatterbrained, probably. Last week, you guys might have seen, I shared it on Instagram. Our dog Rusi, we had to take to the vet and say goodbye to her. She was 12, going on 12 almost, and she had a long life. She had a good life. But we've been kind of going through that, you know, the family, over the past week. And then we can't find Strawberry, our cat. And we were that's why I was outside getting ate up by mosquitoes. Me and Elliot and Molly and Forrest as well. He was with us. He wasn't really looking. But we're walking around and all over the house, all outside. She never goes outside. Like, if one of the kids or one of the dogs opens up the back door, which is fenced in, if she ever goes out there and if they go out and the door stays open for a minute, very rarely she would take a step out and just like sit on the porch, but she would be real antsy about like not getting locked out. Like, she would run back inside if she saw one of us going towards the door, like if we were about to shut it. And it's not like her to ever take off or anything, and we didn't see her outside ever. But just over the last couple of days, we can't find her. And so we're starting to get, because she's a cat, and she will, you know, go off by herself and hide behind, you know, behind the washer or something like that. But we've been looking and we can't find her. And so she's been like healthy, but still, Jorge, she is, we don't really know. She showed up in our driveway. We found her eating our trash in like I want to say it was like early 2018, like winter of that year, at the start of the year. So like January or February maybe, we found her in the driveway. So that was 2018. So we know she's at least past 7, but she seemed like she was maybe a couple years old then. So I don't know. You know, like Molly said, she was like, sometimes cats, when they're older, and if they can kind of feel that, you know, they're going, sometimes they will just kind of wander off by themselves. I don't know. We don't know what's going on. So all that to say, I appreciate you guys in the chat. That's a good call, Liam. I appreciate that. We were talking about putting out something just in case, if she is outside. I walked around and checked the ditch and the field back here behind the barn. Can't find her anywhere. So I don't know. We found her 7 years ago and she was a stray. She was surviving off of trash. So that makes me think she can handle her own if she is somehow wandering around out here. But we put out a little post with like our little neighborhood group online, hoping someone will see her. But all that to say, I'm a little scatterbrained right now, so I wanted to go ahead and hop in a little bit, a few minutes early, just to kind of like preface, I guess, because I was in my head and being like, I can't really focus right now. But not much else I can do, so I'm at least going to hang out with you guys here, and appreciate y'all being here. Julian, what's going on? Evan, I appreciate you sending some mail. We've got something right here from Evan. I actually have several things right here. So we're going to be opening up several things that arrived well, I picked it all up today. We've got mail from Evan, who's here in the chat. This is something that I haven't opened yet. I know what's in it, but my good friend Matt Seal, friend of the channel, friend of mine, obviously, but you've all probably seen him in videos over the years. He sent a camera and lens of his, basically just for me to try it out and to share with all of you. And so we thought it would be fun to open up here and share what's inside. Yeah, and I'm going to be making a video shooting with it as well, but if you have any guesses, leave that down below. And then in the box on the bottom down here, this is a camera bag from Wotancraft. So they asked me if I wanted to check out a new bag they have coming out. Super excited about it, so they sent that out to me, and we're going to open that up. Let me double check real quick, actually. I don't believe it's like a secret bag. I think it's been out yet, but now that I think about it, before I open it up, let me make sure it's not like about to be announced. Let's see here. Oh yeah. Well, let me see if it's like on the site. Because maybe not. Let's see. I'm like days away, so it might have to wait until next week. Is this on the site? All right. That'll just be a tease then. Because I'm not sure. It's not on the site. They didn't say anything about, you know, like a big reveal or release or NDAs or anything like that. But still, just to be careful, that'll be a tease, and you'll see a new video soon on that. I'm excited to check it out. All right, let me get back to the chat here. Rob, what's going on? Good to see you. Jonas, what's up? Charles, appreciate that, man. Yes, I sent you an email. I got your email today, Charles. I don't know if you saw mine back. Charles here in the chat sent a couple of books to the PO box. Couple of books to the PO box, and when those are here, we'll take a look at those on stream together. And 2 books that we've talked about on stream that I don't own, and I'm excited to get into them. But you're gonna have to wait and see what they are when it happens. Let me get this pulled up here. Let me get... How can I move? Hold on one second. There we go. Got to be able to see this right there. Okay, cool. Gregory, what's going on, man? Let's take a look here. Let me move this out of the way first. We're going to start with some mail from Evan. Let's see, there's my knife. Evan, I got to meet when he came to Unique Photo over in Philly. So I did a talk in Philly. It was my first time ever going to Philly. When was that? Was it November? I can't remember if it was sometime late last year. I think it was in November. Really good time. Had a full-blown panic attack there. No one knew. That's something that, I mean, I guess we could talk about it now. I was going to make a video about just me dealing with my anxiety about everything, especially at that point, and like just doing like a public speaking thing, like a thing that like a talk like that. So I've done stuff like that before, but never at like a really, I guess, just shitty time, like mentally, where I was just dealing with a lot of anxiety and a lot of depression, and I was like in my head being like, there's no way I can do this, literally, as I was driving to Philly for that. Tyler was with me. He can attest to it. Tyler knows the anxiety. He's been with me during full-blown anxiety attacks. Did it, went great, had a great time. Evan was there, and Evan shared on his story the other day about making his first zine and getting motivated after coming to the talk, which that was the whole goal of the talk, was like encouraging people to pursue the things in photography that they want to pursue regardless of what it is. Just trying to like speak from personal experience. And so when Evan shared that you know, not only that he got to go there, but that it was encouraging, which was the goal, and that he had made something. I was super excited when Evan not only just shared that, but also wanted to send this in. So I'm excited to share it with everybody. I'm going to take a look at this first. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm not going to... I appreciate you, Evan. That's amazing. All right. So the note to me, I'll keep that to myself. I appreciate you, Evan. It's very kind of you. It says, about the zine, this is my debut publication, In the Woods. It is a collection of film photographs made over the course of 3 summers in Wildwood, New Jersey. Wildwood holds a special place in my heart. I've spent anniversaries there, celebrated birthdays. We even started to close on our first home there. Most importantly, I was able to make memories with the person I love there. My hope for this project is to give you a little piece of those fond memories, aided by the pastel beauty and chaotic tranquility of this beach town. At the time of writing this, I am sold out, something I didn't think would happen. Congratulations. I'm working on a restock for mid-August and will also have the attached stickers available. Okay, this is sick. These stickers are awesome. Let me switch the camera over here. There we go. Amazing. Okay, so there isn't any camel representation. When I smoked, I was a camel guy, but I still appreciate the the range here. So we got the Lucky Strike inspired Kodak Portra, the Newport inspired Fujichrome, and the Marlboro inspired Gold 200. I support this addiction right here. So that I feel good about. Provia is 100% menthol. I'm guessing that's what you meant, Gregory. Hell yeah. So Evan says these are going to be available in August, mid-August that he's shooting for, along with the restock. So shout out to you, Evan. That's awesome. I appreciate you sending this in, man. Let's take a look here. Benji, good to see you, man. Thanks for being here. Oh, nice. Evan says the restock came early. Zines and stickers are available now. Hell yeah. Yeah, if you come up with a camel design, I used to collect Joe Camel stuff like way back in the day, and so I had all sorts of. I had like a whole camel shelf in my house next to the cameras. That's rad. Yeah, if you come up with a camel design, let me know. How? What's going on? I like the contrast of those two. That's rad. Having that kind of continue across. What's up, Tim? Still have my Camel Zippo. Yeah, when I quit smoking, I gave it all to like my various friends that still smoked, and really wish I didn't, because even though I don't smoke anymore, I wish Wish I still had all that stuff. It was rad. That's amazing, Jonas. That's rad. I used to find that kind of stuff all the time at like the flea markets, just like 30 minutes south of here. I used to find camel stuff there all the time. What's up, Evan? Dan, what's going on? Yeah, when I, oddly enough, when I was like really little, my babysitter, which she was basically like a mom to me, still to this day is like a mom to me. She watched my brother and I both from when we were like 6 weeks old, because her husband worked with my mom and dad at Kroger. But she her husband smoked, and he smoked nonstop. And I obviously wasn't walking around with a lit cigarette, but I would take his cigarettes and just walk around with one in my mouth and just sit on the front porch like where he would and, pretend like I was smoking. I didn't really know what I was doing. I was like 4 or 5 probably. Can't imagine why I grew up and smoked Camels, but that's I have all of these memories of the like just flipping through the stacks of the whatever the little Camel coupons would have been, that would come with the cigarettes, where you would turn in to get the random Camel memorabilia. He would always have those with all of his packs. He would always be collecting those, and so I think that's where the Joe Camel thing comes in, where once I was smoking, I was like, well, yeah, it's it's got to be Camels. Yeah, Slava, this I feel that says the photographs represent exactly a place where I would want to go with someone I love. Cool vibes. Yeah, it definitely looks like, at least for me, like a lot more vibrant than Carolina Beach. But last time I was at a beach, I believe, was Carolina Beach, and some of these photos give me that feel for sure. Yeah, Evan, unless you might mention in here, I don't know, sometimes people do, but Benji is asking what film stock these were shot with. FC214 says, I quit vaping 3 days ago. Hell yeah. It's like life knows and immediately throws crap at you to try to get you back on it. Nah. Stay off of it. Stay off of it. I used to love, I mean, I still to this day, I'm like, I get it why people smoke. Evan, thank you so much for sending this in, man. This is awesome. Love the cover as well. That's super fun. Having that text like that. Or wait, is that a photo of? I can't tell how you did that. If that's digitally added on, or if this is a photo of a sign somewhere that says "In the Woods." Let me know. Yeah, and again, these stickers are awesome. Yeah, FC214. Do not go back to it. Especially the vape. Here's the thing. I'm not here to say whether vaping or smoking, is worse. One or the other. They're both bad for you. Don't do it. But the vape, it's with you 24/7. At least for me, like when I did smoke cigarettes, I never smoked inside. I would always go outside to smoke. Not just like when I was, out in public. I remember when I was a kid when people would smoke indoors. Obviously, by the time I was smoking, it was mostly already at that point, outdoors only in like public places. But even at like my apartment when I lived in town, so there was always that sort of barrier. But with a vape, I feel like it's just 24/7 nonstop. So, yeah, stay off of it though. Good on you for quitting. Okay, Evan says it's not an actual photograph. I designed the cover in Illustrator. Well, again, I love it. That's rad. So if you're interested, Evan, go ahead and in the chat there if you want to let people know where they can order if you'd like. Appreciate you sending it in, man, and congrats on not only making the zine, but also selling out of your first run. That's awesome. Dan, random question for you and others. I had a rough developing session yesterday, realized I was almost out of distilled water and didn't use enough photo flow, so now I need to rewash my negatives. Okay. Due to water spots, anyone have some tips? I mean, for me, just like what I've done in the past and what's worked for me is just re-rinsing it the same way that you would. You don't necessarily have to re-roll the film onto a reel, although you could. If the film is dry and the reel is dry, it should feed on there pretty easily. And then you could just put it back on the spool and do a regular rinse cycle that way. But I've honestly just like rolled it up by itself and just basically dunked it myself a few times in a bath of water, distilled water and photo flow. And that to me has worked that for me has worked to get the water spots off of there. So give that a try. There are also you could use, depending on what side it's on, you might be able to kind of gently wipe some of the water spots off of the film if it's not just rinsing off on its own. But I think that should work. That's what's worked for me in the past. So if anyone else has any advice or anything other than that, leave it in the chat. But that's what I would do. Let's grab... We're going to open up the mystery box here from my good friend, Matt Seal. Yeah, there it is, Pete. Kimtech wipes. I was trying to think of what those were called. I have some. Let me... One sec. Okay. These little guys. Kimtech. I forgot I had these with my developing stuff. It's been a while since I've developed. Delicate task wipers, Kim wipes, Kimtech. They're basically they're non-abrasive, like Pete said, but to dry the film as well, to prevent water from beating up on the film and just sitting there. These are great. I bought these, I don't even know how long ago, but have just had this one box for a long time. They last a long time if you're not using them, too often at least. I kind of only use them in a pinch or when I need to, if that makes sense. But they're good to have for reasons like that. So good shout out on that, Pete. Nose grease works great if you're printing for water spots, not on the emulsion side, of course. Washing, like Matt said, is the best. Hell yeah. Yep. Tim as well. Awesome. All right, so inside here, as I mentioned, my good friend Matt Seal, he sent this out to me. And inside we have a Nikon. Which one? Wow. So this is... Let me read what Matt said first, actually. Matt, please enjoy some time with my favorite 35mm camera in the world, the Nikon F2 Titan. Plastic bags are just because I don't trust this cheap-ass Harbor Freight foam, so please ignore. Some of my favorite things about the F2 Titan are as follows. Custom leather strap in here by our own Corey Miller. Shout out to Corey Miller. We'll take a look at that in a second. This was worked on by Sover Wong. I'm not sure if it's Sover or Sover. He refers to him as the Harry Fleener of the F2. So if you know, you know. Modified F3 focusing screen. So this one is brighter than the stock F2's focusing screen. The F2 was the last camera Nikon assembled fully by hand, and the green shutter speeds are stepless. Oh, okay. Interesting. So, okay, yeah. We've got an F2 Titan right here. Wow. That's gorgeous. The coating on the body there, if that's, yeah, there you go. You can see it a little bit better. That is gorgeous. Julian, speaking of Matt, how's that Matt Eich video coming along? It is coming. The kids go back to school next week, and time is going to free up just a little bit, so that one is coming. Okay. Wow, that feels... That's nice. So he sent this along with a shutter release cable, which looks like this because, I don't know if you can see, definitely not, maybe, there we go, because the actual shutter release isn't threaded, so it sits over top of it. That's interesting. Isn't there an Olympic version too? Probably. I wouldn't be surprised. Let's see. Yes. Goldfinch says, dang, I think Sauber has a 2-year wait list for refurbishments of F2s. I remember Matt telling me specifically when he was sending it out, as if, like, I just, you know, struck gold, basically. Or wait, maybe he bought it and it had just been, I can't remember if he got it, like, rush serviced or it had just been serviced before he bought it. I can't remember. I'll be sure to share it in the actual video I do, I'm sure. But does the F2 have the weird hot shoe like the F3? So this one has no hot shoe. No hot shoe at all on this one, but I think Matt sent, yeah, this. There's so much to this. Okay, got it. I'm guessing this slides over top. It looks like it would slide. Oh my god. Do you see what I'm seeing here? Does it slide on this way? Or this way? That way. It goes on that way. That makes sense because you would put the flash, you'd push onto the hot shoe, and it's going to catch on that pin. You wouldn't put your flash on this way. That makes sense. Yeah, Corey, right here. PC sync port on the side. So your flash is going to sync through there, but you've got this little cold shoe that will just sit right above it. That's pretty nice. Never seen a design like that before. That's interesting. Oh, hell yeah. Just got my F100 last week. I'm going to use it this weekend. That's a great camera. I used to use the F100 for like family sessions. If I ever wanted to use film, that's such a good like working scenario 35mm camera. And then right here we have the Nikon 105 f2.5. I have never used this lens before. It's a legendary lens, so I'm excited to finally try it out. Let's just mount this on the F2. Nikon, it's been a minute. The Z mount is still really difficult for me when it comes to removing the lens and mounting the lens because it feels so backwards. That's a pretty beautiful kit right there. Take this off. Now we have, it's another viewfinder, but I'm not sure exactly what this is or what the difference is. Just that it's a metered finder, I'm guessing. That makes sense. So the green, he says the green shutter speeds are stepless. What exactly does that mean? The green shutter speeds are stepless? Does anyone know what that means? Yeah, that's all it says. Matt, he's not in the chat right now. He's not watching. But whatever that means, or your shutter speed from 1/125th of a second to 1/2000th of a second. Those are the green ones. So I don't know what that means to be stepless. Wow, that's actually that. Yeah, I'll have to try and demonstrate it somehow when I do an actual video on the camera. Maybe it'll focus. Wow. Oh, it's switched. Okay, there we go. Setting was off. I think if you put the shutter speed in between... Okay, well that's... I kind of thought that, but... Yeah, there's just no lock. Okay, that makes sense. It just... There's no click at all. But I guess that would make sense if it were called stepless. Yeah, you're just not gonna know exactly. Like, I wonder if it, you know what I mean? Is it gonna just split the difference no matter how far or close? Because you've got such a small range of motion from 500 to 250. It's clicked and then clicked. Like, you've got enough room there to get closer to 250, like maybe 320. And then you could get closer, like 450. I wonder if it will... You know what I mean? If it will compensate for that and just say, if you're in between 125 and 250, we're just going to split the difference. I don't know. That's interesting, though. And then that. Oh, that lifts up. Okay, so is that a lock? Yeah. Do have a shutter speed, or a shutter release lock, lifting up and rotating on that. And then, yeah, time. No, that's going to be probably, I don't know if that's for the flash. From the Googles, the key feature is that the speeds between 1/80th of a second and 1/2000th of a second are stepless. This means you can get the shutter speed to any value within that range. Hell yeah. That makes sense. That's pretty rad. I'm excited to try this out. Strap looks beautiful. I remember when Corey was making these. Corey is also a friend of the channel up in Columbus. I met him because he was a YouTube subscriber many years ago, and I took photos of him and his wife when he proposed, and then their engagement photos, and then their wedding photos, and Corey's just been a friend ever since. So as a matter of fact, my darkroom, my enlarger that I got back, I've mentioned I got that back from Corey, and he is going to be selling me his darkroom sink to put out here in the barn soon. So, and then Matt, who sent this, is going to be helping me with the plumbing out here once I get the sink. So it takes a village, as always. But yeah, I'm excited to shoot with this. So shout out to Matt Seal for sending it in. I will take very good care of it. And yeah, I'll make a video going out and shooting with it when I do. It's Nikon City over here. I'm shooting with the Z8 and the FM2 mostly, and then now I'll be shooting with this a little bit. But Elliot is using my Nikon D60 that I got a couple of years ago. That was the camera I started with, and I bought it again. It was my first DSLR, I should say. Not my first camera that I started with, but when I was doing things like portraits and things like that, and started doing portraits for my friends and band photos, all of that kind of stuff, that was the camera I started with. And I rebought it a couple of years ago just to kind of say, like, you know, you can get an old camera. Like that camera, the body and lens was for $100, and basically just saying like you still get a fully manual camera that if you know what you're doing, you should still be able to get a solid photo from it regardless. And Elliot took it on a hike maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 days ago. We took the kids on a hike, and Elliot took that out, and since then he has been making all kinds of like stop motion animations with his toys. I just gave him my Peak Design tripod to keep in his room so he can start using it, because he's doing all these animations, but he's holding the camera and holding the thing in front of him, so he's like, it's kind of hard. And I'm like, yeah, dude, put it on a tripod. You're making it way harder than it needs to be. So he's having a blast with that, and that's been super fun. So yeah, we're gonna probably go out for another hike here soon. He really wants to go out and make a video with me, going out and taking photos, so we're gonna go do that sometime soon. So yeah, you'll see that on the channel when that happens. Corey, I started with the kit lens, which is what I bought when I rebought it. The 18-55. I started with that. That was all I had for a while, and then eventually I bought the 35 1.8, so like the 50 equivalent. I bought that after a while because I noticed like the couple of years leading up to getting my D60, all I used was my Minolta XGM and a 50mm. That was the only camera and body, or lens and body, that I had. And so going to the DSLR at first, I was like, this is crazy. I can see my photo immediately. I'm not spending so much on shitty film at Walgreens and CVS, because I was just buying the budget, like whatever stuff Kodak or Fuji were selling to Walgreens and Fuji or CVS. And so after a while, the zoom lens novelty kind of wore off, and I was like, I really miss having just the 50mm. So I got the 35 equivalent, and yeah, it was pretty much just that for a while. And then I picked up a couple of more primes, like well, they were sort of older, the AFD lenses, I think is what they were called. They had a manual aperture ring, but they could also autofocus. Picked up a couple of those that were used, and would use them on occasion, but I used that 35 f1.8 on the D60 and the D90 pretty regularly. Oh yeah, that's the thing, Corey. Back then, at least when I was doing the band stuff, I was always using flash, because there were no, I mean, there were technically, yes, there were venues here, but like very, very small scale stuff. It wasn't like going to you know, a House of Blues venue, or like, at least in Columbus, places like what was the Basement, and God, it's been so many different names now, but all the Columbus venues wasn't even anything like that. It was like a lot of VFW places or town hall buildings that were just like a lot of DIY kind of shows. And so the lighting or lack thereof was it wasn't much at all. Excuse me. It is it's been a day. Actually used that same 35 lens on a 35mm camera the other day. Oh wow. I'm curious how that would have turned out, yeah, with a crop sensor lens like that. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah, really a trial by fire approach to photography. It certainly was. God, I kind of want to... A lot of that stuff I don't even have anymore, so I can't, even if I wanted to. like go back and look at all of it. Um, there's like several years, and it was early on stuff like 2008, maybe 2007 a little bit too, but mostly like 2008 to 2011. I have very little photos from that time. It was before I was diligent about backing up hard drives, and um, knew a lot more. I know a lot more now about digital files and managing all of that kind of stuff now than I did back then, and I lost years of photos, which again, it's like nothing that I'm like, oh man, that was such an important. I just wish I could go back and look and laugh at myself as well. But yeah, there were several years there that it all got wiped on a hard drive, which is a bummer. That was another big, like 2012 was when I really started using more film, like a lot more, and also just like I went down the rabbit hole of I want to use every camera that's ever piqued my interest. I want to like just dive in. Because all of those years that I lost, I would use my XGM, but like just rolls here and there. One roll in the camera could last me weeks. It wasn't until I had lost so many photos that kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, and I was like, all right, out of all these years, I only have the film to show for it. And that kind of was like what lit a fire under me to just start exploring that more often for like my own photography. I guess just like practice as well, because that just got me even more interested and engaged in the whole process of photography. Like I'd shot film before that, but all 35 millimeter, all in either little plastic point and shoots or my Minolta. Hadn't really like explored the whole world. I had shot medium format in a Holga for a college class once, but like that was it. And so, yeah, that's one of those things that, I don't know. It kind of led me down the rabbit hole. Matt Seal in the chat. I lost track of time and missed the unboxing. You sure did, brother. I've got it right here. It's in good hands. We were looking into the stepless shutter speeds, and then I think I remember you telling me about them after. I believe it was Goldfinch mentioned the stepless thing, and then Pete, I think, looked it up. So now we've got it. But yes, I think I do remember you telling me that now, maybe when we were on the phone the other day. Or maybe it was a while ago. I can't remember. Are you up into the work of Win Bullock? No, Carter, I'm not. I'm not familiar. But if I should be familiar or get familiar, I will. But no, that doesn't ring any bells. Yeah. It wasn't in the note, Matt, but that's all good. Well, you wrote that it was stepless, but I couldn't remember what that meant. I assumed it meant like not a full stop, but and stepless being like in between, but I wasn't sure, and that idea seemed pretty advanced for a camera of this time, but lo and behold, they did it. Ricardo, are you interested in doing some kind of cinematography with either Super 8 or 16 millimeter? I actually do. I just got some Super 8 developed that I shot back in 2017, and I just got it developed the other day. So, I am interested. Although all of the Super 8 that I've shot, I've developed 2 cartridges, and I still have a few in the fridge that were shot years ago, and I haven't developed them or had them processed and scanned. I think I'm going to share some of it in a video sometime. I just haven't yet, because honestly I keep forgetting that I sent it out and that I have the the scans. But it was cool. It was crazy seeing the kids on Super 8 when they were little. Elliot didn't know it was him. He was like, how's that? How could that be me? This looks like it was from 100 years ago. It's like, well, it's not that old, but Carter, I'll check it out. It says totally worth your time. I feel he's often slept on. Oh, Mino, I missed this. Thanks for doing these live streams. Super cool. I always look forward to them. I appreciate you being here. I'm glad you enjoy them. Matthew, just picked up Gonko by Christian Patterson. Have you checked that out yet? I have not. I did, either I do or I did have a Christian Patterson book. Did I sell that one? I think I did, yeah. I think I might have sold that one. It was at the bottom of the lake. It was like the phone book one. It was pretty wild. The other F2 prism. Yeah, I believe it's a metered prism, but Matt Seal DP11. And it's funny. I had never heard of this thing. Unify. Yeah. This is another one, Matt Seal. Matt, this is your hour right now. I get comments on that almost every week, I feel like. That is what that is. And I didn't know what it was, but Matt Seal, who is the man of the hour right now, he was like, for internet in the barn, yes, this is what you need. And he told me what to buy. So here is, let me pull the overhead back up. Here we have the prism. So yeah, you've got, looks like you can set your film speed up here, but then it's going to adjust your shutter speeds on the bottom there. So how, I don't know how to detach this. There's a little button right here, so maybe that's it, maybe not. I'm not gonna do it right now though, because I don't want to break anything. Yeah, button on the back of the F2 right here. Is that what you're saying? Okay, makes sense. Yeah, DP11 says right here. Wild. Yeah, I'm probably, Matt, there's a very real possibility that this never gets put on here because the last thing I want to do is some tiny little piece in here breaks off. Push down on the prism slightly and press the button in with your thumbnail. That's all right. You don't have to do that. This one here, yeah. That'll do just fine. Maybe I'll feel more emboldened to try it when I'm not live. We'll see. God, dude, look at that mosquito bite still. I could be outside for 5 minutes and I'll be covered in mosquito bites and Molly won't have a single bite on her. Molly, if you're watching, unless the kids have got you tied up, yeah, nonstop. The DE1 meterless is king anyway. Yeah. Yeah, I won't have any issue with that. At least it's not, what is that? Ding? DE, what is that? I'm gonna Google what that is. I don't know what that is. Oh, it's a mosquito-borne viral disease that can cause flu-like symptoms. Yikes. How's that pronounced? now, let me get back to back to this. Now I'm just sitting here. Dingy. Dingy, something like that. I was just sitting here reading reading the Wikipedia, so let me get back here. The old dengue fever, man. That's no good. I'm glad you don't I hope at least you're feeling better. Symptoms from any sort of like bug, I get it. Ehrlichiosis, I wouldn't wish it on anybody. Sucked. Ticks are the worst. It's pronounced dangy. What is Danky Kang? All right. Oh, I think I saw this earlier. It just popped in my head. I forgot to get back. No, Corey, no Liquid Death sponsor yet. I'm still paying out of my own pocket, like everyone else. But if they wanted to sponsor, that would be amazing, because I'm hooked on them. Oh, I was gonna show. I did a couple. I don't know if I haven't seen Jasper in the chat, but he sent in some stuff a week or so ago. Maybe it was last week that we took a look at his zine. But this is a print that I made that he bought that I'm going to be sending off to him this week. So having a lot of fun with cyanotypes again, and it's making me want to get more into other types of alternative process printing. I've yet to do platinum palladium printing, and I've always wanted to, so I think that or salt printing is going to be my next plan or next venture into it, I guess. I don't remember if I shared this one on stream last week. I can't remember what day it was that I made this one, but I was happy with how that one turned out. What's up, Daniel? Oh, man. Gotta get hospitalized because platelet levels can go down so low that there's a chance for internal bleeding. God, that's awful. Yep, the blood type. That makes sense. Yeah, I'm constantly fighting them. Here's another one. I'm not super happy with this one. The contrast is pretty weak. I still need to kind of tweak some of the settings on, like, when I print those negatives to make these. I haven't had too much time to like experiment with making different negatives and seeing how that impacts the print. But I want to do that as well and just kind of share what I find, because I want to make some videos on the cyanotypes that I've been making and just share more of the process. Yes, Jonas, I do follow Ian Reuter. His stuff is amazing. I've followed his work since probably 2010 or 2011, I would say. There's like, oh, I wonder what year that was. Now I want to look it up, actually. Maybe it was 2011 or 12. There were videos on like Vimeo way back in the day. Yeah, here it is. Ian Reuter, Alchemist, Silver and Light. If you just look up that or Yosemite, he's got a bunch on Vimeo, but Silver and Light, I remember that was uploaded, 13 years ago. April of 2012, yeah. That was like around the time that I found his work, was through seeing videos like that on Vimeo, of his wet plate stuff, the box truck camera. All of that stuff is on Vimeo still. Definitely check that out. It's super fun. Gregory, you say you want to do tintype. If you haven't seen Ian Reuter's work, or any of those videos that I was just talking about. Definitely worth looking into. Yeah, super fun. Let me see here. Okay, cool. Actually gonna check something real quick, or maybe I'll check it on here. Oh yeah, Daniel, I appreciate that. It says Matt, a neat photo would try would be the one in Surveyor of the shadow of the tree on the grass. That is one of my favorites from the book. Do I have a copy out here? I moved the books again. If anyone saw that. There we go. Knew it was around here somewhere. Oops. Further up, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, here it is. That one right here. That's the thing. This is one of my favorite photos. I'm wondering what I will need to do to the negative in order to like really make sure that all of that shows up in the print. I don't know yet. It's something I'm gonna have to explore. But yeah, I was looking through the book. That was where I was grabbing photos to make prints from just the other day. So I'll have to try that one. Jorge, I have not seen any of Hal Bill's work. That's another one I'll have to check out. Daniel, I shot that photo on I'm blanking on the name of the road. Miller Road. Miller Road in sort of the close to Londonderry. It's a little back road, like just one little back road that connects two other back roads. When I was in high school, they called it Highway 420. So I didn't partake back then, but I would drive down that road just to take photos. And I don't think there are any photos from that in friend of mine from that road, but it's literally one little back road that I would just constantly drive down because I liked everything on that little road in terms of just how it looked, and it's just one way, car's width of a road, and it's all just gravel and dirt. But that photo was made on that road. This one, so that's let's see here. There's a lot. Literally all like, and if you look through friend of mine and look at where the photos were taken, like you can pretty much drive and see all of it pretty easily, I would say. Corey, would you mix mediums, digital and film to complete a photo project, or do you try to keep it consistent one way or the other? I have always kept it consistent, so anything that I have made, any book or zine, it's all been one or the other. And actually, now that I think about it, it's always been film. That's weird. I've never made a zine or a book with digital photos yet. I will, but now that I think about it, I don't think I ever have, which is kind of funny. So I wouldn't be opposed to mixing them, but I've always had all one thing, like all film. But I wouldn't be against mixing the two, I guess. Whoa. Says Matt, Slava says, Matt, I bet you haven't heard of an alternative process such as soil printing mixed with blood. Sounds a bit crazy, but a Ukrainian photographer from Kyiv creates such photo prints. His name is Valery Veduta. He is working on the series dedicated to war that he is experiencing along with his family. He's got a YouTube channel at VEDUTAV. Veduta V. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Quite interesting. He works in film. I will check that out because that sounds wild. Thank you for sharing that. Cannot imagine being in a situation like that and like having the capacity to make work and to pour yourself into it like that. I applaud him for that. So okay, photos on the same road. 1, this was shot from that area. This one was as well. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are like right by one another. The sort of beginning of Surveyor is very much like me leaving the area that essentially everywhere that I knew that was home. That whole area near where I grew up and the places that I would always drive around. This was very close to where I used to live. And so a lot of that was kind of retracing steps as I was in the process of moving and kind of starting over. So that was 7. I don't remember if it appears. I don't think it does anywhere else because it was really through the beginning of the book and the beginning of that time period. The book isn't chronological by any means, but I'm almost certain that was it. Yeah. So yeah, all of that and the cover. 7 photos made out of a book with not a ton of photos. I can't remember what the final edit is. Around 40 something? 40? 38. So out of 38 photos, 7 of those were made on the same road. A very, very small connecting back road. And that's it. So don't overthink it. All that to say, you don't have to travel or travel too far to make photos. Yeah, Dan says it's hard to make the work mesh together well when you use multiple formats. That's something that like I want to. I think maybe it depends on like how things are formatted. If the book is formatted in a way where the differences are going to be more apparent, maybe. Whereas if you were sort of leaning into the variety and mixed media, not necessarily just mixed media, but like coming and going comes to mind. Grab this one. This is Coming and Going by Jim Goldberg. It's a massive book, and let me switch this here. Okay. So this book is full of individual photos, like an individual Polaroid like this. Then it will be photos layered on top of others, mixing Polaroids, mixing notes, mixing all sorts of different things. And like, see, we've got here typewritten letters, full spreads. Like, if you're going to mix things up completely, yeah, Evan, well said. It says, this book is great, totally overwhelming, but great. I still have not fully digested this book, which is why I haven't shared like a full video on it, because there's so much to it and there's so much to say about making things this way. You know what I mean? Where you're letting it be as messy and as much variety as you could possibly want, you know? Whereas if you're just doing individual, something very like, I mean, simple, you know, if this is formatted in a way that is different from what I did with Friend of Mine, but it's still pretty straightforward. You know what I mean? It's black and white photos, all same format, all same aspect ratio. If I mixed it in something like this, where it was different aspect ratios, different formats, or mediums, maybe it would be a little jarring, if that makes sense. Like it would stand out more in something like this. But again, with this book, like that's the strength of it, is that you have so much different kinds of work here, and different elements, not just the photos themselves. Evan, I don't know that one. William Klein's Paris book says it gives him the same kind of feeling. This kind of stuff is encouraging for me because I want to not be afraid to like get weird and let myself try whatever comes to mind, rather than like what's the right way. Not necessarily the right way, but like, you know, what would be the textbook correct way, if that makes sense. Yeah, just awesome. It's so chaotic, and I don't know. It's great. It's one that, as dense as the book is, like, it's just so much, and the whole book is like that, and it feels like such a personal scrapbook, and I love that about it. It's books like this that make me want to, yeah, Evan says mixing formats is cool, makes it all less precious and more about telling the story, and that like less precious feeling is the kind of, I guess, spirit that I want to get into when it comes to sharing things, because there are so many photos that I haven't looked at in years. I've wanted to kind of go through the whole archive, everything that I do have, and just see if there's anything that catches my eye, just because I think it would be good to do that. But then I also am like, why don't I should just share more and just put more things together, especially for something like this where it's not about a linear story or a linear sequence, but just putting it all together as just a massive collection of literally everything. That's the kind of thing that I would love to do at some point, but there are like 20 years of photos to go through and it's yeah, I can't fathom it, you know, and that's just me and what I take photos of, and my, like, for someone who has a career, like, you think about like the actual greats of photography and putting out these like massive retrospective books, like the amount of time just going through to gather that sort of collection is crazy. But at some point I would like to kind of put together something that's much more like, I guess, just wider subject matter, like a more broad kind of range of subject matter, which I think the instant film book will be that, because it's the one that I am going to be mixing different instant film formats at least, and there's stuff from high school, there's stuff from, you know, I mean, I'm still adding to the collection of instant film, which, speaking of, I haven't done a Life on Film video in a month or so, and I was thinking I might do that, but with instant film, where I just sit down and like as I would sit down to go through and like catalog things and figure out what I like, what is completely unremarkable and not interesting at all, just like sorting them and sharing stories as they come up. If that's something you guys would be interested in, let me know, because I think that's what I'm going to work on a video like that in the next week or so, because I was thinking about sitting down and doing that, and I do have a YouTube channel, so I thought, why not make a video on it? So yeah, I'll probably do that. Let me know if you'd be interested. I also did the Nikon Z8 video, which I knew gear videos are always, those are always like what people watch. But like, it's hilarious for me to make a video just kind of sharing my thoughts on the Nikon Z8, and like, in my mind, it felt like irrelevant, or I guess I always think I'm not a gear reviewer in the sense of like, I'm not comparing this camera to this camera to this camera and doing side-by-side comparisons, and like that kind of stuff just isn't my thing. Yet every time I do make a video like that, it's just I get positive feedback on it, and so many more people are interested in that than they are in anything else, which is to be expected. But every time I do make a video about any kind of like gear or anything like that, I'm always like, this feels like such a waste. But then it's always like, hey, this is the best video you've done in weeks. You know what I mean? So I'm like, well, it's not really about me and what I like. I'm not the one watching the channel. So does anyone here who watches the live streams, like, I'm always curious what the crossover is in terms of, do the people who watch the gear videos watch any photo book videos? Do the people who watch photo book videos also watch gear videos? I feel like there's like different subcategories of the audience in a way. My audience, like the people who know about my YouTube channel. Feels weird saying audience, I don't know. So yeah, I'm curious. I don't know. Daniel, I appreciate it. I will do that then. Blue Laugh 07, do you like the Fuji instant wide size, or are you more square? I used the Instax wide for a long time, and various different Instax wide cameras. Lomography has made some great ones. Mint camera has made some great ones. But honestly, I've always preferred Instax, or I've always preferred Polaroid film, not just for the size, but also the color. Knowing that the Instax film is a lot more reliable and predictable and everything, but at the same times, sorry, I'm reading the chat. Losing my train of thought. I appreciate that. You guys say you watch it all. Yeah, I appreciate that a lot. Talking about gear is always kind of a mixed bag for me, and yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen, I think Developing Tank is one. I didn't see it, but it sounds familiar. Talking about photo books, I believe, though. Something that was recommended, and it looked solid. And anytime people are recommending any books, photo books of any kind, I'm happy to see it. So that's awesome. Daniel says, I found you because I was looking how to make a photo book and about fell off my chair when you said you were from Chillicothe. Yeah, and the fact that I'm friends with family of yours. Small world. I found a few boxes of Impossible Film Project. Oh man, Impossible Project is that's I was on that the second it came out, because at that point I was already shooting Polaroid 600 in my little one step, and I was, yeah, very bummed when they stopped making that. So I jumped on Impossible Project early on. The early film was rough, but they went a long way. But the Impossible Project film, color protection SX70. This was like 2013, I believe. That film was something special. There's still like there are going to be a good amount of photos of that from that particular batch of film that will end up in the book, because it was so good. I used that on several trips I took that year. Yeah, it had such a nice look to it. Yeah, he's a photo book reviewer, but also goes into the photographers themselves. Hell yeah, that's awesome. It's unfortunate that like that kind of stuff doesn't always, it just doesn't grab the attention like it should, you know? I don't know. Like I think if someone else were running my YouTube channel, it would look a lot different. But would do better statistically or analytically. But I don't know. I still have a hard time if I'm not actually interested in talking about it or sharing about it. It's like pulling teeth. You know what I mean? Like I'm not just gonna. I want it to be worthwhile, if that makes sense. And I've been so turned off from talking about gear because I feel like it can so easily get way too important. It can appear way too important than what it really is. And like if I am going to talk about gear, I want to share as much like real life practical information as I can, because if I feel like it's just the little things that are going to differ from person to person, it's really not about the specs anymore, at least at this point. So I don't know. And I don't like the idea of like feeding the idea that gear is this ultra important thing. And I don't know. I've like stopped myself so many times from making gear videos, but then I was getting DMs and emails from people like, hey, you've been using the Z8 now for like a while. Are you still liking it? Are you, because I've bounced around from like camera to camera over the years, and I've used different systems. And so people have asked me about it, and I'm like, all right, well then I'll at least share like an updated, here's what I think after this amount of time. But as I was editing it, I was like, man, this is nothing. Like, I feel like I'm not providing any like real YouTuber type information like I'm supposed to, It was just such a informal kind of thing. But then the comments were really, kind, and people were like, hey, this was great. This was refreshing. And this was yada, yada, yada. Once again, I proved myself wrong with every video, but I don't know. All that to say, while I was thinking it was a waste of time, I'm glad people enjoyed it, and it made me think, okay, maybe I'm just being too critical and like shutting things down too quickly. Oh, right on. Jake, I'm glad you caught one live. Appreciate you being here. Victor, are you shooting any Polaroids these days? Yes. These two, which these might be, I don't know if they actually got stained. That here. Nora. I spilled my coffee on it yesterday, maybe? when it was. There you go. Like a teenager now. Yeah, it's a little stained down here. Spilled my coffee. One without the flash and then one with the flash. But yeah, still shooting a lot of Polaroid film. I'm using the i2 still. It's honestly like my favorite instant camera. So these are from the i2. Elliot has been using the Polaroid Flip though. Which we were planning to make a video over the summer, but we were so busy and with all the different camps going on. But now, when Elliot and I go hiking for that photography video, the plan is he's going to be shooting with his Polaroid Flip and the Nikon D60. So, which that camera is great as well, the Polaroid Flip. Oh, that's amazing. A few years ago, I dropped digital and classic analog and medium format for Polaroids full-time. Super refreshing. There is something about that is very tempting for me, where it's been very rare that I have left the house I always have a camera with me. It's very rare that I leave the house and will only bring an instant camera. And that's something that I always think about doing, because I feel like, I don't know, I don't go out for just focusing on instant film as much as I think I should, because it's one of my favorite formats in photography. It's one of my favorite processes and just the whole, everything about it. I took it over to my neighbor's a couple of nights ago. I've been getting photos of his garden over the last year or so, and kind of getting photos of the progress and everything and the harvesting, and just kind of documenting a lot of it for him. It's a massive garden. And I took the Polaroid over with me the other night and, got to share that with him. He didn't know that they still made the film, and, we were talking about back when they stopped making it, and so then I was telling him about the whole Impossible Project thing. And so, yeah, it's fun. All that to say, it's fun. Instant film is always fun to share with people. Do you find it expensive buying instant film for a kid that wants to photograph everything? For sure. We ran out of film a couple of times, and he's learning now more about, being more conservative with his exposures with instant film, but having the Nikon, being able to shoot with that and not cost every single frame, that's been nice. Yeah. Oh yeah, Tim, it's the best. Goldfinch recording. I think the gear thing says a lot about the OCD, anxious, ADHD behaviors that a lot of photographers deal with, myself included. So many things in life are stressful and we need reassurance. 1000% I am in that boat. As I've gotten older, I have learned more about myself, being diagnosed with ADHD at like 30 or 31 maybe. 32 is within the last few years. Learning about that and like impulsive decisions, and how that being tied to ADHD and OCD, which I've always had and known more about, but or knew to an extent about my OCD, but I have learned a lot more after learning more about ADHD and how those two things kind of compound. And the impulsive decisions, it's funny to like learn about that and then look back at my own life and like decisions within photography and gear. I fully see that, but then just like other things as well, very like just impulsive. It's funny, the older you get, the more you learn about yourself. Yeah, I can relate to that. Is there anything going on exciting at the county fair this week? Not to my knowledge. I mean, it's the county fair, the kind of stuff you're going to see. I don't know of anything that's not usually there that you're going to see this year. Um, we went out on Sunday, took the kids to Nora's school does a thing where the kids get to walk out. Kids with disabilities get to walk out with junior fair board students who are walking out their animals. So the kids that have the disabilities get to go through the show arena with the animals and kind of have that experience with the crowd there watching them. And it's just the cutest, sweetest thing every year. So we did that Sunday. Nora, she always goes out and does it. Her goat that she was walking with jumped up on her, so it was like she was mauled by a goat. Not actually, but if you heard her, that's what you would have thought happened. But she had a good time. It's always fun. It's always a good idea to start digital and then move to analog and then move to Polaroid and instant. Super cool to learn working with less and less frames to go. Absolutely. You ever going to make a trip out to LA? You can stay with Willem. He won't mind. He wouldn't mind. My boy's always got a couch for me. But no, I at some point I'm sure I will. I've been out to California. I've been to LAX. I've never really been in Los Angeles. I'm sure at some point I will. I got invited to, where was it? It wasn't Germany. Now I'm blanking on where that was. Let me see here, because now I'm curious. It was in, now I'm missing the email. Where was that? It was another trip where I had to miss out. Italy. Piedmont, Italy. Got an invitation for an event out there, and had to pass that up. So that sucks. Need to get my passport. Didn't realize it was going to be an international event. And I was like, oh yeah, this sounds great. And then I realized, I was like, oh shit. Plus it's also like, I think next month, and kids' school schedules, my wife's work schedule, my brother's schedule. There's a lot of things that I'm needed here for. So I wouldn't have been able to take that time, the needed time that it would be for that trip. At some point, I'm at this point in my life where, like, there was twice now I've been invited to Leica's headquarters in Germany for various events, and I've had to turn both of those down as well. When my children are older and when things are not as hands-on here, then I will make time for more stuff like that if the possibility or the invitation is still there. But right now I'm needed here more than anything. So in terms of most travel, it's like very few and far between right now at this point in my life. But that's fine. Matt, that Grainy Days collab, Matt on Mami Amigos. I actually told Caleb and Jason that was like the one podcast I actually wanted to be on. So one of these days that'll happen. We need a Discord group server where we can all chat as a group when we aren't on the live streams. I agree, Daniel. That is something that I want to put together. I'll make that a priority. Kids are about to start back in school. I'm going to have a lot more time to kind of focus a little bit. So summer is always like vacation, but not really, where it's just like I'm barely have mental space for anything work related. But once the kids are back in school, I feel like I can kind of focus a little bit more, and I'll make a point to get on that. Yeah, Corey, that's a good call too. It'll be private to some degree. You know what I mean? Like for whether it be a Patreon, YouTube members, something where it can be uh, not just a free for all, because that can get messy online. You should go to the Beers and Cameras weekend in Death Valley. Again, I am sure it would be amazing. I love Juan from Beers and Cameras. I always have a good time at the Beers and Cameras events. Um, but yeah, it's tough. And especially like I know people have kids and travel and do things, but it's a little different in terms of, especially with our daughter, with her disability, my brother as well. Like, I'm here for him if and when he needs anything. And my kids are little, and my parents both like busted their ass. They worked a lot. Like, my dad retired when I was 3 and immediately bought a business and kept working and was working until he died. Like, and my mom worked a lot. So they busted their ass, and I'm grateful for that. But I also am lucky that I don't have to be away from my family, and I have the luxury of being here for as much as possible, and that's like by design. That's why I do what I do right now, because I'm able to be home for the people that need me. So, and we also like, both of my parents have passed. Molly's parents live an hour and a half away. So we don't have like the grandparents that are constantly like, we know people and have friends with people that are like, the grandparents are just as much as the parent of the parents for the kids as the parents are, in terms of like taking care of them around the clock. And that's amazing for those people. We are all hands on deck here, Molly and I. And so a lot of the traveling and stuff like that, it's just not really in the cards. You know what I mean? At least right now. So again, seasons of life. Like, I'm here while I can be. You know what I mean? And it's when the kids are older, I'm gonna be bored out of my mind and looking for things to do. Whereas right now, as much fun as I have on trips, and I have been able to travel a little bit, it's like going out to dinner with your significant other and you're raising kids and you finally get to go out to dinner. Like, you've been dying to just the two of you get away and get dinner. And then the second you do, all you do is talk about the kids and how you want to go home because you miss the kids. And like, that's still how I get on any trip that I go on. Often panicking and like just thinking all of the thoughts of like, what if this happens and I'm gone and I'm this many hours away and I can't get back in time, and my OCD spirals. Yeah, that's amazing, Jonas. Take like soak that time in as much as you can, for you, for them. Can never have enough of that. Oh, Daniel, don't even sweat that, man. Truly, don't even sweat it. You got to take care of yourself. Abel, have you glanced at Baltimore Photo Space's new book email this week? Looking forward to picking up 3 this week. I have. I have not added any to the cart yet, but I have. I'm always keeping up to date on the new books that are coming out. One of them, or 2 of them, I mentioned earlier, Charles Thorpe. He's going to be sending stuff in to the P.O. Box, or he did send in a couple of books. So we're going to take a look at those probably next week, but excited for that. Oh, that's amazing, Jonas. Hell yeah. That's awesome. Um, Matt, anything inspiring you a lot lately? Um, working on working with people. I've got a shoot tomorrow morning, a video shoot for a local business. I did a video shoot the week before last with a physician's office. Getting back into working with people and doing stuff outside of just my personal work and my YouTube and things like that. And that's been inspiring. Not necessarily photography or cinema that's been inspiring me, but just being around people, working with people, and realizing how much of that I get out of. You know what I mean? And it's been inspiring to like not only find more work in that way and like just working with people. I enjoy that, but I think that has inspired me to continue to be more proactive in my own photography and looking more for like stories I want to tell for other people and with other people and less of my own stuff, if that makes sense. Yeah, Daniel, please do. Any advice on getting photos picked up by magazines? I don't have anything. No, I don't have any advice, in all honesty. That's never been something I've like done or pursued, so I would be of no help there. The only magazines I've ever been in have been like taking photos of bands and things like that. It's just been photographing other people for stories about them, not stories about my photography, if that makes sense. Do people hire you off of your work or because you're Matt Day, famous YouTuber? I'd be so nervous if I were in your shoes. Um, I mean, the people that people have hired me. I don't think anyone is hiring me because I'm a YouTuber or have a certain like YouTube subscriber count. They'll find out about me through my YouTube channel for sure. I've photographed several photographers' weddings, people that found me through my channel and then had me shoot their wedding. Um, so yes, but I also think, I mean, maybe someone didn't like my wedding photography, but still hired me. But I would assume they liked my wedding photography as well. You know, after knowing me through YouTube, if that makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. With the previous talk about uploading videos, aren't we all overthinking YouTube videos? Nowadays, the algorithm is not pushing art stuff. Also, so many focus, refreshing edits are pushed. Yeah. I've tried really hard. I feel like I've been a stress test on YouTube to see how much will people really stick around and watch, because my videos are very, very plain in terms of editing. I'm not doing flashy cuts. I'm not overthinking, or I am overthinking, but maybe just not in the ways that I should be. I don't know. I want to talk to the camera like I would talk to a person. And if that means my average view duration or the whatever, like if people don't have the attention span that they definitely don't have anymore, I don't know. It is what it is. Like, if they wouldn't, I don't know. I don't know. Like it's counterintuitive because I need people to watch and stay engaged, but I also am not stuck to the idea that like this has to work. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've made it work enough that it works for me to where I can still do it my way. And if things weren't working that much anymore and I had to like shift gears and try more on that stuff, then maybe. But like, I didn't get into making YouTube videos because I like making YouTube videos, or I like editing, or I like the idea of, like, to some people, the game of YouTube is what they love about it. They love coming up with the perfect thumbnail and editing and all of that stuff. But that's not me, and I can't pretend to be someone else and like do it for over 11 years. So I've just trusted that I'm going to keep doing it the same way I've always done it, and trust that my people will find me and I'll find my people, if that makes sense. Um, but yeah, it's easy to see what works and be like, well, why don't I just do that? You know what I mean? I don't know. Piggybacking off the earlier question, has anyone hired you based off of your passion for photographing Chillicothe? I could see a person or brand wanting to latch onto that local pride. No, no, I don't think so. I mean, I've had like local people express their like shared appreciation for photography and being like, that's why I connect with your work, because it reminds me of like how I feel about it. But never, not really anything like that. Yeah, Dalen, send me an email with more info. I'd love to check it out. Hell yeah, John. That's what it's all about. Like, literally just sharing your perspective. That's it, you know? I wish YouTube would realize that people actually do want simple, good videos and promote them more. Look at stuff like the hockey guy, just a dude in his white board and no editing. I'm not familiar with him, but I like the idea of that. Just something very simple. A lot of the stuff that I watch is like that. You know what I mean? I can watch very I mean, I've talked about it before. I'll watch someone just filming with like the front facing camera on their phone or their webcam. If it's interesting, I don't care what it looks like or that there's no cuts or anything like that. Um, I'm not watching to be entertained or, I mean, I guess in a way I am, but you get what I mean. Like, I don't just need noise. I don't need you to just like, dangle keys in front of my face. You know what I mean? I don't know. Uh, your channel is the antidote to the other channels. That's why we're all here. If I wanted to get yelled at, I'd wear a Steelers jersey to a Browns game. I appreciate that. That's the thing. It's like I've I feel like I've been really lucky that I've been able to kind of just do my thing and trust that, you know, my people find me like you guys have. I would rather appeal to less people myself, being myself, than appealing to everyone, but like putting on a facade or something. You know what I mean? Anthony, Matt, I know you've had the M11 as I do. Sadly, my eyes are aging and I find the idea of a digital rangefinder really difficult. Film rangefinder is fine. Trading in my M11 for a Q3 43. Thoughts? I still to this day have not been able to figure out why it's easier to focus on my M6 than it is a digital M. Not just the M11, but M11, M10P, M11 monochrome. All of the digital M's I've owned, I always found the M6 to be faster to focus. Easier for me to know for sure that I'm lined up exactly where I need to be. So I don't know what that is, but you're not crazy, because I experienced the same thing. Thoughts on trading in the M11 for the Q3 43? If you're having trouble with the focusing, you're going to love the autofocus. It is still very much the digital Leica experience in that it's very, I mean, the user interface is going to be like second nature to you. I still, as much as I love the Z8, I I still love the SL system, the SL3, SL3S. Like those were both serious contenders before I bought the Z8. I went with the Z8 because one, I knew I could save some money while still getting an incredible camera. And in some ways I like the Z8 more than the SL cameras. In some ways I like the SL cameras more than the Z8. So it's always a trade-off. But if you enjoy the M11 for the files, for the user interface, the feel of the camera, I'm assuming you do because that's why people buy and pay that Leica tax, you will not be disappointed with the Q343. If you are happy with that focal length, the lens itself you're not going to have any complaints with. That lens is incredible. Like I also, had I not started doing more work again, like portrait work and video work for clients, when I had the Hasselblad X2D, originally I thought when my time is up with this camera and I swap it out to something else, originally I was going to do the Q343, but then I started thinking about doing more paid work again for portraits, video work, again, that kind of stuff. And that's when I started thinking, okay, well, that's not the camera for me for work. But honestly, like, if I could buy an M11 again or a Q343, there's a very real possibility that I would get the Q343 before I would buy an M11 again. Maybe. Like, it's for someone who likes that focal length, it is a solid camera. Really, really enjoyed my week. I think I got to try that camera. Yeah, it was great. Oh, I appreciate that, Dalen. I'll check it. I'll check out for that, or keep an eye out for that. Yeah, there's something, Evan, about the rangefinders that it just doesn't. It's not like it's impossible, but there's a difference. I don't know what it is. I posted about it once on my Instagram stories because I was like, "Am I crazy?" And a lot of people were like, "No, I noticed the exact same thing." So yeah, it's weird. M11 with a VisiFlex and focus peaking is good for quick focus, but it takes some time to adjust. Yeah, I had the VisiFlex on my M11 for a while, and it was good in a pinch. I used the VisiFlex on the M10P as well when I used that for weddings, but yeah, definitely not the preferred way, at least for me, to use an M. So, but speaking of that and working, I have a shoot in the morning, and I'm gonna need to get the kids all up and loaded up and then dropped off over at my friend's house so he can watch them for an hour while I go and do that shoot. So I'm going to hop off here for the night, get some rest, get things ready for in the morning. Appreciate y'all hanging with me, especially given the circumstances. Yeah, it's been fun. It was much needed. So, oh, Anthony, you didn't have to do that for the super chat. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Did not have to do that, but that's very kind of you. Tim, love you, man. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate you all hanging with me. Anthony, thank you so much again. Really appreciate that. Appreciate all of you. Evan, Jonas, Jim, Rob, everybody here in the chat. Appreciate all of you for hanging with me tonight. And yeah, next week I will swing by the P.O. Box sometime. I'll probably do it next Wednesday like I did today, just in case any other mail rolls in. But Anthony, or Charles, not Anthony, Charles Thorpe sent over a couple of books that are going to be in the box for next week. So we'll get to look at those books he's sharing with us. Big shout out to him for that. And yeah, thank you all for watching. Appreciate y'all. Have a good week, and I'll see you guys soon.